everyone, it's Erica back on the Altenew YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today in a bit of a practice project, I think. So I have this fear of making masculine card. I feel like I'm very kind of stuck in a teeny tiny box where I'm using either like navy blue or black, and I thought let's try something different today. I'm gonna let go of this fear, and we're going to take something that isn't overly masculine, but we're going to make a card with this. Now, first of all, we're going to use the Elegant Bows 3D embossing folder, and it is super important that you check the instructions on how to build your sandwich when you do 3D embossing, because it's different for all the die cutting machines, so there's not like a one standard for all. So with the Platinum 6, which I have, you need the adapter plate, which is the gray, and you need just your bottom platform. And then you put your embossing folder, your 3D embossing folder with paper inside of it, of course. And those are the three things you need. So that creates this amazing texture. Super easy. It runs through like you're thinking as you're rolling it through like this is not gonna work, but it does. So we are going to use 3 different colors today, but in all fairness, I think I probably could have skipped pool, because the Tide Blue and the Bamboo together, when you're blending inks together, obviously you get different colors. And we're going to use the coordinating layering stencils, of course. These are amazing. So there's 4 stencils, and it creates this amazing detail. Now, the fun thing about these stencils is that you can actually use them on their own. You don't need the 3D embossing folder, and you don't need the die cut either. So you can actually use just the stencils alone, and just you need to maybe add a little bit more color here and there, to kind of make sure that you get a bit of like detail. So what I mean with that is you're going to use your blending tools, and in some areas you're going to put down a little bit more color. You see here, so around the edges, essentially, like you're going to want to rub a little bit extra. But before you move on to your next color, don't forget. Now, I wish I had a kind of like a breaking noise, like that screech. Breaking noise on the screen is gonna have to do, because stop, hold it right there, grab something and wipe off the ink on your layering stencil before you move on to your next color, so that you don't contaminate the ink pad and also the blending tool. I'm using the mini tools here. If you want more sort of intense color but with more control, I would suggest that you get some of the micro blending brushes, because they are super fine and you can just get in there and like really kind of add the colors in various places where you actually want them to kind of stand out a little bit more. So if you were to use these stencils on their own without the embossing folder, I would highly suggest that you would do some darker colors, especially like where the kind of the ribbons will come out from the bow, and towards kind of like the middle of the bow, if that makes sense, just to kind of create that definition. But I mean, this is a super fun set to play with. Like, I have made so many backgrounds because it's just so fun. But as I said, we are gonna, or I say we, I am attempting to make a more sort of masculine card with quite girly, feminine sort of pretty product suite. I do not know why I set these weird challenges for myself when I'm usually all about pops of colors and sparkle and bring the bling and pretty. But one should challenge themselves to step outside of their comfort zone every now and again, and for some reason I feel like this every time, this pressure to do something, when I could just make it easy for myself and make something really pretty, and I'm sure you guys would like it. But there is something about, challenging yourself when it comes to this sort of thing, especially when it comes to inspiring others. And I want everyone who feel like they're kind of maybe a little bit stuck in a rut or a little bit fearful of spreading their creative wings, that you're not alone. Oh, goodness me, you are definitely not alone. So we can do it. We can be each other's support system, and we can do it. But Now we're gonna get back here because we're on the final layer. And that this is, I don't know why I keep wiping them off as well in between, because I normally have like a little tub of water onto the side, so I can just pop my stencils right into that and kind of rinse off. But this is what it looks like. And I mean, I know this one has got all of the details and that, but this is essentially what it could look like without using the embossing folder first. Now we're going to finish this card off with some fun little details, and I have cut out a frame using the picture frame dies, and it has this lovely texture to it, and I thought this would just be a nice way to kind of like draw the eye in, because we're going to put a sentiment in the middle there. Now I'm going to use my stamp wheel because I cannot stamp anything without assistance. No. And I have stamped up this Wrapped with Love in Tide Blue to kind of keep it all cohesive. And at first I thought this is going to look great, but it needs something else. It needs, and not just say Wrapped with Love. And I thought adding a little, actually there's 2 sentiments from the Wrapped with Love set. And it's going to say, a gift for you from all of us. And I'm going to stamp this up with Moon Rock ink, because I'm trying to kind of also not use too much black, because that's kind of like on the few occasions when I do make sort of more masculine cards, it's either a lot of like black and white, very monochromatic, or black with navy or white with navy, just very dark. So I'm trying to kind of soften it up a little bit, but still kind of not being too sort of frilly. But we're gonna take this and we are going to chop it into a thin banner. And I decided that the Wrapped with Love, and I'd also cut out an extra piece, because dimensions and layers, there's only so much you can like make me go out of like 1 layer cards, and like no dimension and layers and texture. That's hard. That I can't step away from. I'm so sorry. But as I said here, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not sure about this blue. So we are going to stamp that very same Wrapped with Love up with Moon Rock again. And then we're going to cut this out. And then instead of wasting that blue one, we are just going to stack it up. So we're going to have 3 layers. Yes, because, 2 is not enough. So we're going to go for 3. Yep. So I probably need to get re-inkers for all of my ink pads as well, actually. So bearing in mind though that these ink pads, I must have bought these when they first came out, and this is like the old type, like the oval type. But never mind. That is all good. So we're gonna stack these up, and we're gonna use a little bit of liquid glue, and we are not gonna go bling town today, no. But we're just going to add these very, very simply with just a little bit of liquid glue. The only thing that I am going to add to this card on top is just a tiny little kind of bow wrapped around that frame. And I've used the kind of like gold and teal thread that I have had since I lived in Denmark, which was, a very long time ago. I moved from Denmark in 2017, and we're now 2025, so it's at least 8 years old, but still very good. Lots of it there, because I don't use a lot of it. But yeah, so I'm gonna simply glue these bits and pieces down. I will use my grid mat to make sure that things get on reasonably straight, reasonably, I say. Sometimes you do have to eye it, and sometimes things, even when you try, don't go on straight, but that's okay. We are making handmade cards. We are not going for Hallmark mass-produced pumped out cards. We are making unique cards each and every time. So now this is almost done. I am just going to sneak in here with this ribbon, and we're just going to do like a quick sort of simple bow. Nothing kind of fancy pantsy or overly frilly, just a tiny little bow to kind of like go with the Wrapped with Love sentiment, really. And that's about it. So I think this is okay. So fair enough, not my most masculine card ever. It is still quite cute and like woo, but baby steps, right? Baby steps. So maybe next time I will just go for like 2 colors, or maybe one of the same color families. Yes, maybe that. And yeah, what do you think? Will this qualify as a masculine card? I'm hoping you're going to say yes, but please do let me know down below in the comments. And I really, really hope you have enjoyed this video. There is a blog post over on the Altenew blog as well if you wanted to check out like the written instructions. And I will see you very soon again. Bye for now.
Hello there. Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.